Victor Gyokeres, I still believe he's going to be a Gooner. I'm sure I speak for every Arsenal fan or probably football fan that has seen his name plastered where transfer rumours are concerned. You just want to see a proper conclusion in terms of his saga. And what I mean by that is he's holding an Arsenal shirt. He's officially signed on the dotted line and he's on the plane for our pre-season tour of Singapore and Hong Kong. Now, Record Portugal, which said a few days ago that the deal was on a verge of collapse, now says there's a good chance Gyokeres to Arsenal is done by the end of the week. We're now at the halfway point of the week in Wednesday. Feels like 2 weeks ago on Sunday is when this whole Gyokeres thing really kicked off. It went beyond rumours and developed into something more than such, people. Apparently, Nuno Farina, who I believe works for CNN Portugal, apparently, in brackets, the person who broke the news of the first meeting between both Arsenal and Gyokeres' agent and the last weeks of an exclusive deal being closed, has said the deal was close to being finalized. Arsenal wanted 3 million euros easily achievable and 7 million euros a bit more difficult to achieve in 10 million euros add-ons. Smash the like button. Let me know your thoughts on that. Now, the latest information is that it's going to be exactly half and half. That is 5 million of those that are considered easily obtainable, and 5, I would say, are less easy to obtain. As per latest info, the 5 million of the 10 million is virtually agreed. So I guess we have to hold our horses. We did also hear reports out of Portugal saying that the sporting president has reached an agreement with Arsenal for Gyokeres, which stands at 63.5 million euros, with easy to fulfill bonuses of 10 million euros, people. What do we make of that? Gyokeres will travel to London on Friday for his medical, signing a 5-year deal worth close to 8 million euros net per season. So what do we make of that? And we've also heard other rumors saying, simply put, the sporting president agrees a fee, agrees the deal, then starts going back to the negotiating table in an attempt to move the goalposts. Gyokeres' agents, according to Romano, are still in London with conversations ongoing between all parties for add-ons. Arsenal have paid more than they expected. Sporting now want even more with almost guaranteed add-ons. While nothing has collapsed, it is tense, people. And I don't know if this is anything credible, but an ITK replied to Fabrizio Romano speaking about Gyokeres on the 14th of July and said, come on, don't expect us to accept that. One of the objectives of that 10 million euros is for Arsenal to win the Champions League or the Premier League. Are you taking a Mickey out of us? I don't know, people. I hope we achieve either, if not both, people. The here we go for Gyokeres to Arsenal is coming soon. The agents of Gyokeres are in London. They're in constant meetings with Arsenal to get the deal done. So any moment could be here we go. Arsenal are waiting on the final approval from Sporting on the structure of the 10 million euros bonuses. So it appears like the bulk of the deal's done. It's a bit of a discrepancy around the 10 million, how it's going to be paid, what it consists of activating those bonuses if and when Arsenal or Gyokeres collectively and individually trigger that, I guess. They're now waiting for the final approval from Sporting on the proposal for how these bonuses will be activated. Speaking of contracts or deals being done, Ethan Nwaneri, one of our star boys, a very good Highland talent, Fabrizio Romano said we've reached an agreement in principle with Nwaneri over a new deal. Sammy Motbell said it's going to be a 4-year deal, hopefully with an option of a 5th. If him, Miles Lewis-Skelly, going over a bit and assuming Saliba and Saka sign new deals, if they were to sign 4 to 5 year deals, at some point throughout the duration of that new contract, negotiations start beginning on another one on better terms, people. Arsenal in the final stages of Nwaneri talks over new contract. And you know what? Big up yourself, Berta, man. You're getting the players in. You're dealing with the contracts when you can. Probably the one bit we're probably lacking with at this moment in time in July is probably some outgoings. Ornstein said we're in the final stages of talks with Nwaneri over a new contract, which will end any prospect of the playmaker leaving and secure his services for the long-term future. He's entered the final 12 months of his existing deal. There's been major interest from suitors in the Premier League and abroad. We've seen Chelsea and Dortmund rumours. The England under-21s international's priority was always to stay at Arsenal. Obviously, it's a significant boost to us. We know he joined us at the age of 8. Arsenal were not allowed to propose fresh terms until Nwaneri turned 18 in late March. And since last season ended, he's been away representing his national team and on holiday. Upon returning, discussions have ramped up and the academy grad is ready to commit to his boyhood team, which is music to my ears. He enjoyed a breakthrough campaign last season. I do think it's a breakthrough, but the scariest thing is I wouldn't even say it's a breakthrough season for Nwaneri. Of course it is. England under-21s international now, won stuff with his country during the summer, was very close, I believe, to getting called up by Tommy Tuchel's side. And obviously, I think made 25, 30 appearances. So it is a breakthrough season, but I don't think he's had his breakthrough moment yet, which is great stuff. He got 9 goals and 2 assists. I mean, scored his first couple professional goals for the club across 37 appearances for Arteta's men. That represented a substantial amount of minutes for such a young talent and explains why there's no demands about game time during negotiations. He was deployed mainly on the right side of Arsenal's attack and featured predominantly when Saka was out injured. Is expected he'll soon occupy a more central role, providing competition and backup for captain Martin Odegaard, which is great. What do you make if, God willing, Nwaneri signs a new deal, Odegaard gets back to form, we get Eze through the door, you do have the option of, I know, people playing Kai Havertz in the 8. How do we juggle all of that if we're able to juggle all of that? Smash the like button and let me know your thoughts on such. Now, Liverpool, it's been a great 24 hours for them. They've been linked with Isaac, Hugo Ekitike and Rodrygo, and I think there's a good chance they get at least 2 of the 3. Apparently, they are now ahead of Arsenal in the race for Rodrygo. Seems like they're willing to put those kind of fees down. They are going all in for Rodrygo. The English club has decided strongly to pursue the Brazilian. Apparently, they'll do whatever it takes to sign him, people, which isn't what I want to hear. And apparently, Bayern Munich have their eye on Rodrygo and are ready to offer 100 million euros. Any move could hinge on what happens with Diaz and Liverpool, who are interested in the Brazilian winger now. Surely for Liverpool, you sell Luis Diaz for whatever fee, maybe a Darwin Núñez, bring in Rodrygo. That offsets any potential PSR concerns, even though I think they've got money to splash. So yeah, Bayern Munich are onto him, but he's not. You were led to believe that Luis Diaz is the first opportunity they are trying to do, trying to sign an attacker, and then they might go for Rodrygo. I've read this before, but long story short, Arsenal have to decide if they want to spend the 70, closer to 80, potentially 100 million euros and pay Rodrygo handsomely. That's what you have to do for these kind of players. Arsenal can do it, but I think they need to be creative in how they can accomplish that deal, but also make sure they've got money coming in to ensure that the books are balanced, because as we've already spoken about, they've really had a significant spend. I would probably say Eze would be the one who is more achievable. I personally believe for Rodrygo and Eze now, based on what we're hearing from journalists, that we're going to kind of take a pause when Gyokeres and Madueke and Mascara and all these guys are through the door. They'll probably be off in pre-season. I think we're going to take a pause and look to move on, potentially the Kiviors, the Zinchenkos, the Fabio Vieiras, the Reece Nelsons. If they're smooth sailing with that, I do think now then we'll return to the fore for Eze and Rodrygo. And again, a week's a long time in football, a day's a long time in football, but that kind of leads you to believe that, Eze, Rodrygo, if not both, if not neither, and another person, is probably going to drag out into the season, people. Apparently, Rodrygo said yes to Arsenal as Arsenal choose between Eze and Real Madrid. Between Eze and the Real Madrid star Rodrygo. Now, it probably wasn't feasible to expect us to get both. And if you do get Eze, Madueke, and Gyokeres, I mean, David Ornstein and them guys there, I guess, were very right in that we wanted 3 attackers. I mean, not to diss Madueke, but is there a reality you save that 50 million, you get some money into the club, assuming, 50 million for Madueke means 30 million more conservatively for Rodrygo. You've got 50 million that you would have spent on Madueke. You've got some money that would have come in from other players. You throw that towards Rodrygo, and you should be getting Eze regardless. But apparently Rodrygo is edging towards giving the thumbs up to a summer move to Arsenal, who must now decide whether to sign Eze or the Real Madrid star. Where would you lot be with that, people? Apparently it appears to be a straight choice between Rodrygo and Eze. Sammy Mokbel said we're very interested. So we'll have to see exactly how this develops, people. Liverpool will do everything to make it happen. Apparently super agent Pinay Zavari has been tasked to go to Madrid as an intermediary to initiate contact with the club. So, yeah, I'm led to believe on reports he's a Liverpool man. Arsenal and Valencia have exchanged documents for Mascara, 50 million euros plus add-ons, total fee under 20 million euros. Long-term deal for Mascara, medical booked on Wednesday, folks. So, yeah, we know he's coming through the door. Apparently, he's actually in London, so we'll see how that goes. Fabio Vieira's camper trying to get a move on, trying to move him on, and he's been linked with clubs in Turkey or interested parties, while not named, in Turkey, in Germany, and actually the Premier League, as well as Italy. Apparently, a permanent offer could be on the way from Italy, and it could be a fee of 18 million euros. Would you not accept that? It seems like Arsenal wouldn't, people. Chelsea have held talks with Joel Hatto. Ajax wants 60 million. Chelsea want to pay closer to 40 million euros. I hope he stays at Ajax. I think this is a next summer thing now, if I'm completely honest with you, even though I want it now. As mentioned, Crystal Palace have an interest in Reece Nelson. Arsenal remain in contact with the agents of Eze, and we're hoping later in the window that Palace could soften their stance on not wanting his release clause, according to Romano. The Sun has reported Mikel Arteta sees Eze Eze as the final piece to the jigsaw, and we face competition for his signature from Bayern Munich, who could reunite him with Elise. We're set to approach Palace to discuss whether they can do a deal for Eze without triggering his 68 million euros release clause. Now, what do you lot make of that? Do you think a deal can be done? Do you see that and go, oh, Arsenal penny pinching? Let me know your thoughts in that regard. Romano or Madueke said he signed his contract at Arsenal until June 2030. Official announcement to follow next. So you'd imagine it's a case of the media team doing announcement videos. And Xavi Simons is still being linked with Bayern Munich and other clubs. Is that someone we should be going for?